The Cowboys have been spiraling as of late. From the setup of their own stadium with the glare from the sun and injuries to 4 straight losses, there's been very little to smile about. But head coach Mike McCarthy is preaching, well, positivity.
I'm not a big fan of drama. You know, in that personality is something that I've had to learn to, as a coach, to engage with and work with and so forth. So I think, like anything in life, I think it's important when you do go through times, regardless of what they are professionally, you go back to who you are. You know, you should stick to who you are. I'm never going to try to be somebody else. And I think it's important for all of us to operate in that phase, because we were all brought here for a reason. We've done good things together. So we need to continue to work and stay, convicted to that commitment. So if anything, these moments really confirm, who you are, why you're here, and that's the way I look at it. I think this is an incredible opportunity for this football team, what's in front of us, to be into this valley of adversity, and I think to come out of this would be a great story. And there's a ton of work, and the only work we're really focused on is really beating the Houston Texans. But man, this is a great opportunity for us, and I tell these guys, repeatedly, just enjoy this. This is something that you can really learn from for the rest of your life.
Time now to welcome in CBS Sports NFL writer Tyler Sullivan. And Tyler, when you listen to Coach McCarthy speak there, bringing up the whole positivity and enjoy these moments, I get why he's doing that. But do you like the approach he's taking?
I can't help but laugh. He's like, this is an incredible opportunity. They're going to remember this for the rest of our lives. You're thinking, oh my goodness, are the Dallas Cowboys going to the Super Bowl? They're 3-6. They're 1-5 in the conference. What are we doing here? It reminds me of the scene in The Wolf of Wall Street where Leonardo DiCaprio's at the penny slots and he's saying, you know what, this is the best thing that's come across my desk in my entire career. But it's junk. It's trash. It's not something that you would want to hitch your wagon to. And that's the Dallas Cowboys in 2024 right now. They're not something that's particularly going anywhere. Again, Dak Prescott's down for the season. Cooper Rush is now your quarterback. We've seen so far he can barely handle the snap. They're promoting Rico Dowdle as their primary running back for the rest of the year. Like, that's supposed to get everybody excited. This is a team that struggled pretty much out of the gate. And, for Mike McCarthy, I get it. He's trying to save face. He's trying to save his job. He's saying that, listen, let's try to galvanize the troops. Let's try to get this team ending the season on a somewhat positive note. There are some winnable games down the stretch. I don't think this game against Houston is one of them, but they will be able to pick a few wins, or at least have an opportunity to win some games here. But no, I disagree with Mike McCarthy. I don't think this is an incredible opportunity for the Dallas Cowboys.
No, it's definitely not an incredible opportunity. A lot of those players probably feeling dejected about the way the season has started and just really lost their way with the team. Now, Dolphins star wideout Tyreek Hill was a game-time decision before the Dolphins beat the Rams on Monday night because of a wrist injury. And now we know his wrist is so banged up that surgery was an option, according to Hill. But he rejected that idea.
I've been talking to a lot of people, about this particular injury, man. At the end of the day, man, I just got to suck it up, and just deal with the pain, It's going to get worse, the more I play. Yeah, I'm going. But I gotta gut it out for my team, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here, I'm locked in no matter what, no matter how I feel, so even if I got to cut my wrist off, I'm still out there, man. You know what? Because I love the game of football, man. So surgery was brought up, and it was talked about whenever I talked to, a few of the doctors. But, it's my call at the end of the day, and my call is to stay out on the field.
Tyler, there's something about this Dolphins team. Tua talks about he loves football to the death. Tyreek Hill says he would cut off his own wrist. I know they don't want to be seen as quitters and they want to gut through it, but do you feel like this is a smart move for him?
I don't. And again, it's commendable to a degree where you say, you know what, I'm going to gut it out for my team. I want to be there for my teammates. From that standpoint, you do have to commend Tyreek Hill a little bit, but also kind of cooler heads need to prevail a little bit with this situation. He even said it himself. It's going to get worse the more that I play. And you're playing right now on a 3-6 football team that's on the outside looking in of the postseason. Yes, there are winnable games over the next couple of weeks here. So, you can take down the Las Vegas Raiders, the New England Patriots, both of those games at home. You're inching closer back to 500. In the way that the AFC has gone this year with the standings, you could say, hey, listen, maybe an 8-8, an 8-9, a 9-8, maybe that can edge us in if we just play our cards right the rest of the way. I look at it from a bigger picture standpoint and say that's probably not going to happen, because you look at the other games going the way this season, you say, okay, well, they're probably not going to win many more games. And if all of a sudden this now impacts 2025, because if surgery is on the table at some point later on in this year, maybe even early stages of 2025 in January in the offseason, does that impact you for 2025 later on this summer? That's where I start having some concerns with Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, that's the same thing for me, because when he said it's going to get worse, I was like, okay, so maybe you're just going to delay the inevitable and you might not even make the playoffs. And even if you do, what are going to be the long-term effects for that? So we'll see how it all plays out for Tyreek Hill and the Dolphins. Now, Amari Cooper, sticking with the wide receiver position, hasn't played the last 2 games for the Bills because of a wrist injury. But now, ahead of their matchup versus Kansas City, Cooper said he's feeling better and more comfortable. If he does go, he will be wearing a cast. And Tyler, Keon Coleman is out for the Bills. So, of course, Amari Cooper being there would be a great help to Josh Allen. How much of a boost do you think it'll be for the Bills to get him back?
Well, you said it right there. I mean, they need him more than anything. I don't even know if it's a boost. It's a necessity at this point. This was their marquee acquisition leading up to the trade deadline, and you need him for games like this weekend, going up against the Kansas City Chiefs, potentially with the implications of maybe earning the #1 seed if all of a sudden you get a win here, you own the head-to-head tiebreaker. KC drops one more game after that. You're sitting there with a first-round bye for a team that's pretty banged up that could use the rest going in a long playoff run. So this is the type of game that the Buffalo Bills went out and acquired Amari Cooper for. So to have him, obviously, you would want him there. You mentioned Keon Coleman. He's out for this game. There's a chance Dalton Kincaid's not here as well. He hasn't practiced the last couple of days. And so we're talking about multiple go-to pass catchers for Josh Allen, possibly down in a game where he's supposed to go throw for throw, toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes, who is now having an emerging Travis Kelce. If you look at him over the last couple of weeks, he is starting to become a factor. Of course, they went out and traded for a wide receiver in DeAndre Hopkins, so they're going to be fully manned. And if you're not, that's just continuing to put you behind the 8 ball against the back-to-back defending champs.
Yeah, and Josh Allen may have to play Superman, and we know how those things go. Sometimes it's amazing. Other times he's throwing interceptions left and right. Now, Kansas City kicker Harrison Butker is going to be out 3 to 4 weeks due to a knee injury. And, Tyler, for a game that usually comes down to a field goal or to a small margin of error, how much do you think KC is going to miss him?
Yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting one, because if you look at Kansas City, of course, we're looking at their undefeated 9-0 record, and we're like, okay, this team is just finding ways to win. They're willing themselves to victories. They're blocking field goals at the last second and all of that. But if you look at 7 of those 9 wins, they were all 1-score games. And so when you take that into account, and then you take into account Harrison Butker, who has been virtually automatic in field goal range this season, he's 18 for 20. His only 2 misses came from 50-plus yards out. You then lose that little bit of that certainty that you have. If you get over the 50, you get a little bit closer in the field goal range, you're feeling pretty good about coming away with that position with points. Now you have to make a decision, if you're Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, what you're going to do. Do you have faith in your backup kicker, or are you going to leave the offense on the field? It just adds another element to the decision-making for the Kansas City Chiefs. And I will throw out that, leaving Patrick Mahomes on the field a little extra isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially in a game like this where he's been awesome on 3rd down. The Buffalo Bills not particularly great on 3rd down. So if you carry that over to 4th down, potentially, it's a very similar crucial down. Maybe that's okay, but still, not having Harrison Butker is a variable. Again, this is a game where the spread was -2.5 for Buffalo. So they're looking at this. The odds makers are as a field goal game with Harrison Butker. I'll be curious to see what happens now that they know he's out.
Absolutely. Should be a fantastic matchup. We cannot wait to see Bills, Chiefs, Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. Now, let's go to New England, where you're very locked in, right? Defensive tackle Christian Barmore practiced Thursday for the first time since he was treated for blood clots this summer. So, Tyler, what do you make of all the work, the hours that he's put in to just make his way back to the field?
Yeah, this is a tremendous story going on in New England. And this is on a team that is kind of, semi-upswing over the last couple of weeks. They're obviously not a great football team this year. They're not the New England Patriots of old, but you're starting to see progress from Drake May. You're seeing them beat up on bad teams like the Chicago Bears. So you're kind of seeing them on a little bit of an upward trajectory, and now putting Christian Barmore back into this equation. And again, we'll see what happens in terms of when he actually makes his return to game day. But this is overall just a very compelling story, because if you remember, going back to the offseason, the Patriots handed him a historic contract extension for the franchise. He is the highest paid Patriots player ever, not named Tom Brady. So we're talking about someone who they view as very vital to their future going forward. And again, having just that type of person back on the field is just an overall great news for the New England Patriots. Great news for Christian Barmore, because again, when you have something like that, blood clot issues, you don't know what the future lies sometimes. So to see him back on the field the same season, overall, it's just a phenomenal story for him.
Right, and not only just helps on the field, but it also helps just the morale, right? The mental aspect. Well, we got our guy back, so now we can play even better. Tyler Sullivan, always appreciate talking to you about the NFL, man. And here's a look at the slate of games coming up Sunday on CBS at 1 p.m. Eastern. Russell Wilson and the Steelers hosting Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Elsewhere, Anthony Richardson is back under center for the Colts against the Jets. Jared Goff leading the Lions against the Jaguars. In the 4 p.m. window, and arguably the game of the year, the unbeaten Chiefs head to Buffalo to face the Bills. You can also stream all the action on Paramount+.